Good morning. Tora has reluctantly agreed to say hello to her adoring fans. She really wants to go outside, but until the hurt leg is completely healed and the bandages are gone, she has to stay in. Now, yesterday I thought it was Friday, and when I woke up this morning, I thought it was Thursday until I heard the trash trucks going by. Trash trucks come on Friday mornings, which means that I did not put the trash out last night, but I don't have much trash this week. Tora and I have been too gimpy to deal with things, huh? Yeah. Come here and say hello again to your adoring fans. She's been chewing off her bandages, but the process is far from complete. Yeah, I know you don't want to sit here. Get off. I have her tail, her favorite toy. But I think she's tired of it. She's played with it a lot this morning. Her second favorite toy, of course, is the magic red dot, the laser pointer. It seems to be hiding from me. Cracker crumbs, candy corn. Well, shoot, I don't see her laser pointer in here. I must have put it in a pocket somewhere. Don't know which pocket of what sweater or jacket. Well, anyway, now that we've cleared that up, this is Friday. So good morning from beautiful downtown Crestline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. And hi, Philip. I'm going to have to find Tora's laser pointer. Oh well, later. It's been really difficult to keep her inside. Anytime I want to open the door, I have to put her in kitty cat jail. You know, the cat carrier. So I'm hoping she heals fast and heals well because there's no keeping that cat in long term. It just isn't going to happen. I tried and tried. First 3 months that I had her, she never went outside, and then suddenly one day she made a break for it while I was going out, and she made it outside. So I had to leave the door open so she could get back in because uh, obviously, since she had no experience with such things, she didn't know that the door would be shut and she would be stuck outside until one day that happened to her. Well, Halloween is tomorrow. I might actually get the neighbor's kids over for treats, so I'll put together some bags of candy just in case. You hear that, Tora? Kids might come to the door. Oh, I see. Hair number 1037 is out of place, so she has to groom herself. Cats are like that. Well, anyway, uh, I am so sick and tired of being shut down. And I'm a hermit. It doesn't affect me a whole lot. Um, but it affects the people around me. Yes, it does. And now I have a sore throat. Don't worry, either it isn't COVID and I'll be fine, or it is COVID and I'll be fine. I've had this sore throat ever since the devil winds started blowing through, so I'm pretty sure it was the weather that caused this and not a virus. Don't have a fever. Who knows? My biggest problem is hobbling around on a healing hip. It's actually my knee that gives me the most trouble. And I'm unsteady because I have to walk funny in order to walk at all. But hey, I'm doing okay. My GoFundMe brought in enough to cover my expenses for a while until the winter heating bills start in. But I thought I'd let you know yesterday's Friday bonus round was really on Thursday. Today it is Friday. Yay! And we're doing well. I really have laundry to do and dishes to wash and clutter to clean up. But I have the best excuse in the world. I'm hobbling around. I can't get a lot done. Oh, Halloween should have 12 days like Christmas. Well, I don't know. We do have Dia de los Muertos on the 1st, the Day of the Dead. Here we go. Every time I take a puff, I cough. That should tell me something, but I refuse to listen. I've got plenty of food. My bills are paid. My kitchen does need a few things. So, probably later today, I'll record something showing you the mess that my house is in. Boxes of stuff are stacked up because I have to sort out the trash from the good stuff. I can't just toss everything. I have found $20 bills in some of these boxes. I'm not just tossing them out without searching through them first. They're not all my boxes. Some are other people's stuff that was abandoned here. Gesundheit. No, that's for sneezing. I didn't sneeze, I coughed. I was sneezing the other day. I run 2 humidifiers 24/7 pretty much. Unplug them and let them rest, at least once a day so as not to burn out the motors. But one is cool mist and the other is steam. I found that just using the cool one made it cold in the house. And the steam vaporizer doesn't put out much steam. It runs out of water faster than the cool mist vapor or humidifier. The steam one is a vaporizer. I guess I'm supposed to stick my face over it and breathe in, but I don't do that. They have enabled me to give up the neti pot. Hi, Oswald. Well, I realized too late that yesterday was Thursday when I posted my Friday bonus, so I figured I'd better come on today since it is Friday. Although this morning when I woke up, I thought it was Thursday, and then I heard trash trucks outside. And I went, uh-oh, it's Friday, and I didn't put out my trash because I thought it was Friday. Whoops. Tora's chewing on her bandages again. When she gets them completely off, I'll consider letting her outside. Hello, IB. Um, she can't go outside with bandages all around her leg. They could get caught on something, and then she'd be trapped. And since she doesn't meow, she only squeaks, I might never find her. And she might be in the neighbor's yard, too. I wanted to make her an indoor cat, exclusively indoors, but she isn't having it. I have to lock her up when I want to go outside, either in the bathroom or in kitty cat jail, the carrying cage. I have a large one that's made for a small dog, so she isn't too trapped. But then I read that cats prefer smaller spaces. However, you can't fit even a mini litter box into the small one. Once I get those out of the house, I'll have a little more square footage of floor to walk on. Huh, Tora? She says, don't kitty me. I'm busy chewing off my bandages. Her splint came off a week ago, and she gets around really well. Oh, Oswald's gonna do his neti pot. Well, okay. I have a love-hate relationship with mine, and so far the humidifier and vaporizer working together are making it unnecessary. I'm wearing the woolen cap, which is really acrylic and cotton, because it's a little chilly, even with the heat on. And besides, I don't have to comb my hair if I wear this cap. Oh, ye gods. Yeah, don't do the neti pot with the water too hot. I got distilled water thinking I could dispense with the boiling the tap water for 5 minutes. It's too cold. It still has to be warmed up. So, what I've come up with is to warm up the distilled water in a double boiler so it doesn't get too hot. But I haven't tried that yet. I'll let you know how it goes. I got Oswald, IB, and Philip, and I was just gonna pop on and off, but you're all here. The gang's all here. Okay, well, let me take a quick break to recycle some coffee, and I'll come back and chat a little longer. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Okay, I think I'm back. I was going to sing, but I have a sore throat. Philip has a cat who was born in the house, and several bottle-fed at rescue kittens who are not allowed outside. They all consider it unthinkable to go outside. Okay, well, Tora, I'm certain now her previous owners didn't know, but I'm certain that she's a bobcat hybrid. The more she grows, the more she displays the characteristics of a bobcat. Very thick claws, very strong fangs, and bobcat behavior. And even though she has a full tail and she's a gray tabby, if you noodle around on YouTube, you'll find bobcat hybrids that look just like her. Her body shape, her conformation is different from a domestic cat. I'd rather not let her out. She's so expensive now since her emergency vet visit. Nicest thing about Tora, yes, that's your name, is that she's a real sweetie. Yes, she is. Yeah, you keep chewing on that bandage. When they're all off of you, I'll let you go outside. She won't let me take them off. And I don't think I should because they're obviously helping her to heal and, not re break her foot. It's a hind foot, so it isn't like broken here, it's broken here. She is a wild kitty, but she's sweet. Yes. I, when I'm not on YouTube, I have lots of things to talk about, and then I get on YouTube and they just all escape. I wonder if these masks might be doing more harm than good, but I do wear them when I go out because most of the stores won't let you in without one. Some actually provide hand sanitizer. It's better for your health to use soap and warm water, but that isn't always practical. You don't want to use hand sanitizer all the time, but it does work. Ah, she's napping. If cats sleep 18 hours a day, why do they have so much time to drive their humans crazy? Oh, you don't wear a mask while you're jogging? Chinese school children died in gym class wearing masks while jogging. And they claim you get just as much oxygen. Well, sorry, I don't. The weirdest thing is when I'm wearing the mask, like this, I can't see properly. It does something to my vision. I don't get it. Anyway, I'm the descendant of people who survived a very rough life mostly farmers who suffered the loss of infants and children more often than I like to contemplate. So I inherited a genetic code that says, ain't no virus can keep us down. Bacteria? Ha! Piff! I had scarlet fever. I isolated myself so I wouldn't pass it on to anyone else, but there was only a one afternoon when I had a high fever. I was sleeping and having the weirdest dream, and then the fever broke and everything was uphill from there. It wasn't much worse than the measles, which used to be no big deal. Keep a note card? Oh, yeah, well, I do write notes, but you know what, Philip? I don't know where I put my notes. Um, wow. I had strep throat once. I used Vicks 44 cough syrup. It kind of burned going down, but it was okay. I had the dreaded norovirus, which is much worse than the flu. You hear about it killing people on cruise ships. Well, I was unable to keep down even a teaspoon of water. I was a little toddler. I hadn't started school yet. But I remember the first thing that stayed down was the pink stuff. So I keep a bottle of the pink stuff at all times. I know people who can't stand it. They get the cherry flavor because they don't like mint. And I hate the cherry flavor. It's disgusting. It's imitation cherry anyway. I get the mint, peppermint flavored pink stuff because it was the first thing that stayed down. Let's see. So when I was a kid, everybody got measles, mumps, and chicken pox. All children got those. Usually when they started kindergarten at age 5, but my older brother started kindergarten at age 5, so I got them a little before and a little after the age of 1 year. And I remember the chicken pox because mom put mittens on my hands so I wouldn't scratch the blisters and get scars. And I was too young to know how to take them off. Let's see, what else? So I've had some nasty infections. The thing about getting chickenpox, though, is that it usually makes you immune to smallpox. Now, they say they've eliminated smallpox, so they don't give the vaccination anymore. I got one for free at school when I was in 5th grade. Everybody did. And all the red-headed boys got terrible scars from that vaccine. But anyway, my grandfather got smallpox, but he had one pock in the middle of his forehead, and he wasn't even very ill because he grew up on the farm and he'd had chicken pox and cowpox, so he had a high degree of immunity. Yeah, hand sanitizer doesn't feel good on my skin, Philip. Eye itchy, sorry. I wouldn't say that hand sanitizer burns, but I don't like the sensation. I cannot use the kind that contains aloe. Aloe vera. Aloe does burn my skin. I seem to have an allergy to it. So I cannot use aloe to heal, um, cuts and scrapes and such. It just makes them worse. I actually use baby lotion. I discovered when I was young, oh, hello there, Buddha Tootie. Um, when I was in my 20s and I discovered baby lotion because I had a baby, then would ask me what kind of perfume I was wearing because it smelled so good. And it was baby lotion. So that's my go-to lotion. Although I do also use, I don't think I have any right now, this stuff called Utterly Smooth. They sell it at the hardware store, and it's almost like cold cream. The men use it before they work on a car or something else that gets them all dirty and greasy, because if you use it before you get all dirty and greasy, the grime washes off better and more easily. I use it before I go out digging in the dirt to plant things or take care of my garden. I could have sworn I had one of those. No, maybe not. I'll bet it's in a box, in one of these many boxes that I have to sort through. And here I am chatting on YouTube instead of straightening up my house. But straightening up this house is a long term project. Once in a while, I bring in some boxes from out in the shed and sort through them to toss out trash, sell some things, donate some things, and then pack up the precious things in bubble wrap and so forth. Do I know a certain Magdala Matilda on Facebook? I don't think so. The name doesn't look familiar. When you get up over a couple hundred friends on Facebook, you don't remember all of them, but I don't think I know Magdala Matilda. I remember the ones that I interact with and the ones that I originally met elsewhere, like on, oh, come on. Why am I forgetting that name? He's famous. Uh, Unknown Country used to have a free message board. Um, he wrote Communion, and I forgot his name. Ah, well, anyway, I met some people on those message boards before he put up a paywall. Yes, Oswald Whitley Strieber, thank you. Um, and I would dearly love to subscribe and support Whitley Strieber, but I can't afford to subscribe to anything. I really want to subscribe to Joseph P. Farrell's Giza Death Star and to Jimmy Church's, I think he calls it Fade to Black. Um, oh, by the way, the chat tends to run behind me talking because YouTube has a sort of delay. You don't get me live technically, you get me 3 to 5 seconds after I talk. But the chat is real time. I suspect that Whitley Strieber, just like Philip K. Dick, will embellish, exaggerate, and make things up. He wants his experience to be more than it is. But when I read Communion back around 83 or 4, whenever it first came out, I was impressed. That's a darn good book. It really is. I wrote him a letter about it, and he not only wrote back, he sent me a copy of one of his books about how the world would come to an end. Well, our world would come to an end in a major ice age. Critical blog posts. Well, Oswald, we're connected on Facebook. You can always message me some links, and I'll try to find the time to check them out. Well, this planet will be here. Sorry. Long after we're gone. We don't need to save the earth. We do need to practice conservation and environmental awareness, but the strategies that have been forced upon us are all wrong, and they're really making it worse. For example, our forest here in the mountains, which was planted by loggers. They clear cut whole areas and replanted trees. They're too crowded now. They overplanted on purpose so they could come back and chop down the trees they planted. They aren't allowed to chop them down. As a result, the various government agencies and power companies are spending millions of dollars to cut down dead trees because the forest isn't healthy and the trees are dying. Instead of having loggers pay us for the privilege of cutting down the trees before they die so that the forest is thinned out and healthy. Oh, I haven't asked Dr. Farrell for a scholarship. No, didn't think of that. I also like Walter Bosley. He has a YouTube channel under his own name, Walter Bosley. He's bought me lunch. He's driven up this mountain and bought me lunch. Nice guy. I think he did it twice. Anyway, and he's given me copies of his books. I gave him some of my books, but not as many books as he gave me. Um, and I like the way well, Bosley and Farrell both, when they're speculating, they tell you this is speculation. I don't know. Bosley didn't seem to eat like a horse. Right now, we can't exactly go out to lunch. The shutdown is really hurting our restaurants. And since this is a summer tourist town, we have many small restaurants and coffee shops. And yet a new one just opened up, but all they serve is hot dogs and malts. Malted milk, not just a stinking shake made out of milk and plastic, but a real malted milk. Well, it's worse than wearing a mask in between bites, Oswald. We have to sit outside. And when it's 40 to 50 degrees and windy, you don't want to sit outside. Well, they planted those trees around 1920. Anywhere from 1880 to 1940, they were planting trees. And the original companies that owned the land no longer own it, and quite a bit of it is national forest now. And California and Oregon too, but I'm in California, so I know my state better. California has gone nuts. They've made it almost impossible to do logging. But in the early days of Los Angeles, as a metropolitan area, a big city, while they were building it, they needed lots and lots of lumber to build houses and commercial buildings and so forth. And they got a great deal of their lumber from these mountains. Now, most recently, the El Dorado fire burned mostly wilderness. I think about 100 homes burned down. Well, it burned the wilderness because the trees haven't been thinned, the brush hasn't been cleared. Now, you need to leave some trees, but only as many as the land can support and have a healthy forest. And you need to leave some of the brush and some of the fallen trees. They rot and feed the living forest and provide homes for critters. I hate to think how many wild animals like deer and squirrels and lions, mountain lions, died or were critically injured in that fire. We also have raccoons and coyotes, but I can't feel quite as sorry for them. Up here, some idiots have been feeding the raccoons and failing to secure their trash, so the coyotes get into it. And the problem is, then they make too many babies and there isn't enough food for all the raccoons and coyotes. So they spend even more time getting into trash, eating small pets, and in some cases attacking people, especially small people like children. Not all of them are newcomers. Then there's the crazy guy a few blocks away who has made a sport of shooting raccoons. Ordinarily, he'd be in prison for 2 or 3 years. But because of COVID, he's back home shooting raccoons and squirrels. Now, this is sort of an old growth forest. Some of the trees are 100 years old. But I'll never forget driving up Highway 101 through the coastal redwoods of California, way up north. It rains there all the time. It's tree rain, water falling from the trees. Yeah, for a while there, we had extra critters up here looking for small pets to eat. They fled the fire. We already have mountain lions and bears, raccoons, coyotes, squirrels, chipmunks. It's their forest. We're living in their home, and some of us know how to get along with them. Oh boy, here goes. Since I don't have a fever, I'm pretty sure this sore throat is just from the crazy weather. One day it's 80 degrees, the next day it's 40 degrees, and the wind is blowing. One day the wind blew so hard it knocked over my porch swing, and all the stuff that I thought I had tied down, like tarps with bricks on the corners and so forth, got blown all around. And the silly raccoons dumped over a trash barrel and popped off the lid only to find that it was completely empty. There was nothing in it. Silly critters. Ah, silly. Now, I have an outside cat and I do feed her in the daytime. Most of the critters are nocturnal, they come around after dark. Opposite of a spiritual experience. Oh God, a factory forest of new growth with people doing yoga on their mats. Oh, I don't do yoga. I'm not, never have been that bendable. I can't even sit in the lotus position. Forest bathing, huh? Magical, eh? Old growth forests. Yeah. I haven't been to a lot of places. The farthest I've been from home is Denver. I've been there twice, and I actually was in Fort Morgan where Phil is buried with his sister Jane in the family plot. I went to Seattle once, but all I saw was, let's see, the airport, the hotel, and a convenience store where I shopped because I couldn't afford to eat at the hotel. Well, I don't know if it's Europeans who aren't built to do yoga, but I'm not built for it. And I don't even have good posture, sit up straight like adults were always telling me when I was younger. My spine has problems. I can put my shoulders back, but then I can't move my arms. They're kind of stuck like this in the military posture. Yeah, well, guess what? We had such cold weather that I finally fired up the heater, but this coming week it's supposed to be 80 degrees again. And we kind of got some sprinkles. I wouldn't even call it rain. We could use some rain and snow. So, like summer, the world doesn't know whether it's summer or winter. I think this is actually Indian summer at this point. It is not unheard of. It's quite common. Eye itches again. Sorry. Hmm. Anyway, at least my internet connection is working today. Yesterday I gave up because it kept disconnecting. Let's see, what was Joseph Farrell talking about? The European Union and how various countries need to get out of that cartel. I'm still waiting for England to complete Brexit, Britain's exit. At least Britain kept their own currency. They didn't go to the euro. They have the British pound. Of course, I have trouble counting money in English currency. I think I've got it down now. A farthing is 8 pence, or is a half a farthing now? I don't know. I'm not sure of anything. They've done away with the half a crown, and a crown was almost the same as a pound, but not quite. Back when they used coins, and the value depended upon the weight and value of the metal it was made from. And speaking of coins, I'm waiting for silver prices to quit being so ridiculously depressed. Usually, there's a standard ratio between silver and gold as to their bullion value, the value of the metal itself, not the collectible coin it's made out of. Hi, William. I'm safe so far, but I don't have much silver. I'm just commenting on the crazy low price of silver these days. If I had the money, I'd go out and buy some. I remember when our coins were silver. Well, pennies were copper. They aren't now, they're zinc. Nickels were made of nickel, and they still are. But dimes and quarters and 50-cent pieces and silver dollars were made of silver, and people had them in their pockets and people spent them. Then around 1964 or 5, I think 65, all the new coins were crap. The quarters are copper clad in nickel or something like that. The pennies aren't copper, but the nickels are nickel. That's why we call them nickels. But if you notice the old, some people call them Indian head nickels and some call them buffalo nickels. They're badly worn. because nickel is a soft metal. And on most of those old nickels, you can't read the date. On some of them, you can barely see the Indian head or the buffalo. But nowadays, our nickels are not pure nickel. They're an alloy that holds up better and doesn't wear out or wear off as fast. Well, I can still touch my toes. I can even touch the floor with my fingertips. But well, not at the moment. I'll fall because of my broken leg. Cat hair in my mouth. Ew. Wonder where that came from, Tora. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Walter Bosley was talking about movies and what else? Hmm. His new book, One of the Secret Missions. It's a collaboration with another author. I can't remember exactly what it was about, but a little known historical figure, and we need to know more about him. I'm glad that Jimmy Church left Coast to Coast. My one and only appearance on Coast to Coast was with Jimmy Church, and frankly, if it isn't going to happen, but if Coast to Coast did ask me to come on as a guest, I would refuse. That show is just, even when they have a topic or an author that I think really interests me, and I try to listen, yeah, they don't deliver what they promise. But I'm hoping once I actually finish my work in progress, I'm hoping to be on Jimmy Church's own show. Now, it's been over a year since Dark Journalist asked me to come on as a guest, but I've never been scheduled. He's really into topics that are, well, I guess they think they aren't related to Philip K. Dick, but they are. In some ways, they're related to me. I remember the John F. Kennedy assassination and many other assassinations in the 1960s. And I never thought that Oswald shot Kennedy, or even if he did, that he was the only one. Now I'm convinced he never shot anybody that day. And Phil was constantly speculating on who really shot John Kennedy. And Dark Journalist has talked about a close associate of Richard Nixon, a man a Dark Journalist Daniel List actually interviewed on his show. Well, Phil thought Richard Nixon was the devil himself, but over the years, As we learned more and more, Phil began to think that maybe Nixon was just caught up in something he couldn't control, that there were deeper, darker forces behind the scenes. The latest from Dark Journalist is that Nixon might have stashed some documents related to flying saucers and space aliens that that our military has. Could be. I don't know. Huh. Come on. Gotta have the salty. You don't want to see me chew it. I do have dentures. I'm not wearing them at the moment. Anyway, my book, which is about the exegesis, does talk about what happened to Phil in the late 1960s when his house was repeatedly burglarized and he was kidnapped at one point. It goes into some info about Nixon and Kennedy. It goes into things that happened later. So maybe I'll be able to plug my new book on Dark Journalist as well once I have it finished, so I can send digital copies. But I'm really stuck on the Gnosticism section at the moment. Phil did share some ideas with the Gnostics, but he himself was not a Gnostic. He leaned more toward the dualism of Zoroaster and Mana, M-A-N-I, as in the Manichaean heresy. And there's one other guy whose name I'm blanking on, ancient sort of pre or proto-Gnostics who you might call them fellow travelers with the Gnostics. Maybe that's why the Masons call themselves fellow travelers. I'll have to think about that. More research to do. This book is going to have footnotes and everything. I'm tempted to just make them chapter notes at the end of each chapter. Because I have an aversion to the teeny tiny type that is put into footnotes. We'll see. Where Did the Road Go would be a great show to go on. I don't know that show, Philip. Yeah, I see it. I don't know. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. Oh, come on, you evil thing. As I'm typing, the cursor pops out of the box. Where did the road go? I've been on Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis twice, but it's been a couple years. I'm not sure how many years. I was invited to Arc Midnight, but, well, I was on that show once, also a couple years ago. But they have a new host and new producers, and not getting anywhere with them now. I'm getting a big old runaround, so forget it. I know when I'm not welcome, and I don't go where I'm not welcome. Soraya Azkath. Wow. Is she on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio or what? Or Facebook? Anyway, I don't know about a post-Christian era. I think Phil's one of Phil's major proposals was that we are still in the first century. We are the early Christians. And you can take that as a metaphor if you wish. He tried to make it a concrete reality. Soraya is a guy. Okay. I've been on a number of podcasts with various people, like Solaris Blue Raven. I don't share her views to a great extent, but we get along. We can disagree and still be friends. Okay, where did the road go? I will check that out. Maybe listen to a few of the shows to see if it's a good fit. I got eye itches real bad. That's from the crazy weather. We have very low humidity today. Jacques Ellul and Bernard Charbonneau. Well, yeah, the French actually were fans of Philip K. Dick before Americans had ever heard of him. They could see that Phil had studied philosophy and employed it in his writing. In the United States, science fiction was such a lowly genre. It wasn't really considered literature. It was pulp or trash or, oh, it's for kids. Until, I think it was 1970. I'm not positive, but the movie 2001 A Space Odyssey, all of a sudden science fiction popped into the mainstream for a while. Some people try to tell me bad things about Solaris Blue Raven, but I don't know. All I know is we get along. I've been on her show, and um, she allows me to disagree with her, and I allow her to disagree with me. She's a little new agey, but not a nutcase or anything. She seems to have her feet on the ground. It's just her head that's in the clouds, and I guess I'm pretty much like that myself. In daily life, I've got my feet on the ground. I'm practical. But in my speculations, I'm way out there. I believe that we're already at war with an alien race within our solar system, and that's why we didn't go back to the moon, and that's why we never went to Mars, and that's why all of our space missions are robotic. Now, I have a few bones to pick with Richard Hoagland, but he did bring to our attention the fact that many robotic probes in orbit around Mars appear to have been shot down. We've had too many failures of both Russian and American probes looking at Mars and its moons. Okay, well, anyway, I bought Hoagland's book, The Monuments of Mars, and I think he starts out well and then goes off the deep end. There are photos where I don't see what he claims to see, but then there are photos that are very strikingly um, suggestive of artifacts, things made by people. Now, the face on Mars, that was the big thing. Well, to my mind, even if it is not a face, it is far too symmetrical to be a natural formation. The only things I know in Earth's geography and geology, the only things I know of that are symmetrical are crystals. And that face is not, as far as I know, it isn't a crystal. It reminds me of some of the medieval forts. They would build the fort on a hill, and if there weren't any hills, they'd make one. They'd move the dirt around and pile it up and make a hill. And that's what that face on Mars reminds me of. In some photos, the face looks more like the print of an athletic shoe, as if some giant had stomped on the landscape and made a giant um, formation. Yeah, oh, I knew they were going to talk about water on the moon. It's nothing new. And then they said, oh, it's in the sunny areas. Well, not really. It's in the shaded, it's in the parts of craters that are always in shade. Our solar system, and in particular the rocky planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, and all the asteroids and other small objects, our solar system has far too much water for it to have been formed by natural processes. However, if in the ancient past a planet where the asteroid belt is today, if a planet blew up, it's entirely likely that water was made in that explosion. The outer gaseous planets have moons that have ice, but it isn't water ice. It's usually methane, which is the natural gas that we use to and food and to heat our homes. Well, I kind of think the Irish Scottish Gaelic Cratur is not the same as crater. Yeah, it means creature, Oswald. That makes sense. No, crater in Latin was the great big bowl that they put the communion wine into. One of the phrases that Phil heard in his visions was Poros crater or Poros crater. Well, Poros refers to limestone, and crater, of course, is like a great big bowl. A grail, if you will. But even in English, crater and creature are spelled and pronounced similarly, but they really come from different roots. Creature is related to create and creator. Yeah, many words sound the same and really don't mean anything like the same thing, which is one of the reasons why English can be so confusing to people who learn it as a second language, and even to small children whose native tongue is English. I have nothing to talk about, and yet I have lots to talk about. But I've been going for over an hour, and I wasn't going to do that today. Solaris Blue Raven is really the one thing I have trouble with is she talks so fast. She pronounces everything clearly, but you must pay attention in order to understand her. But she is not like those fools in the media who couldn't pronounce their own names. Like, I listen to the radio a lot, and on KFI, or as they call it, KFI, in the afternoons, I keep hearing about the Jaw Nun Ken show. John and Ken is not John and Ken. Ugh. Brr. Anyway, their ads in particular drive me up the wall. Is Toyota's ads lately are we make a Deezy. It's supposed to be we make it easy. And they say, we make it easy for you. But gag. Solaris pronounces things very well and talks very fast, but I can understand everything she says because she pronounces her words correctly. And when I was growing up, we used pronunciation to help us get the spelling right. So, for example, night. Okay, Night and night sound the same. Come on. Oh, don't do that to me. Keyboard's being mean. They don't mean the same thing. So we would, just for fun, when we were talking about a knight in shining armor, we would say knight to remind us that it started with a K, but that was just for fun. In ordinary speech, knight and night sound the same. I think that results from the British habit of swallowing half the syllables in their words. It's really bad among the Welsh. It takes something like 16 letters to spell um, owls, or is it alls? It's some village in Wales. Uh, anyway, in Chaucer's English, night was knecht, Kneccht. In Chaucer's day, it was pronounced knecht, and it meant a knight on a horse with his armor and all that. We've Languages change over the years, and I don't mind that, but really, we make a deezy for we make it easy. That's lazy. And I don't mind if you're just some person talking. I do mind when you're paid to read an ad on the air. It's funny when John and Ken start talking and doing their show, they sound just fine. They don't get lazy and pronounce things too badly. I enjoy listening to them, but their intro is for John and Ken. Ugh. I'm still kind of a pretty good fan of Brian Suits. He's on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday at 8 at night, and he's a veteran who talks about uh, wars and such overseas, mostly Afghanistan. And he talks about what's going on now, like with Iran and their nuclear program. But he speaks well enough. He doesn't get lazy. But some of their shows, well, Bill Handel's just plain annoying. But he speaks very well for someone who didn't learn English till his parents immigrated to the United States and he started school not understanding a word of English as a child. But then we have Gary and Shannon, and I just am not into the topics they choose. They'll start out the first half hour talking about the news of the day or current issues, and then they'll devolve into um, silly things people do when they're drunk, or something interesting that happened at a party, or let's see, and laundry, shampoo, makeup, um, just things that don't interest me. So I turn the radio off at 10 in the morning. And I often turn it off while Bill Handel is on just because he's annoying. But it's a pretty good show. It's on for 4 hours. Now I can't take 4 hours of him. Project Sensors on KPFA. KPFA, I believe, is one of our NPR stations, National Public Radio. Down here, it's a different one. I can't remember their call letters, but I can't get them on the radio. The reception's poor up here. I'm pretty sure KPFA is NPR. They might be a little more listenable than the one in Los Angeles. Phil was on the one down here a couple of times. I'm blanking. Well, you can find it on YouTube. A couple of Phil's interviews on. I can't remember the host's name or anything. It's horrible. When I lived in the flatland, I could still get that on the radio. And I just don't want to listen to the radio on the internet. I have a limited bandwidth and I don't want to waste it on something that I should be able to get on the radio. But the powers that be are trying to phase out radio because they want those frequencies for other things. They pretty much killed over the air television, and I'm certainly not subscribing to cable. Let's see. Let's see if Google will help me out. That's bugging me. DLES. Yeah. Okay. Ah. Oh, criminies. Okay, let's see. Evil computer. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Google's being difficult. Okay, I'm going to have to type out when was. Okay. I might have to resort to Wikipedia. Ay, ay. Uh-huh. Okay, it ain't happening. And I should know all those names and the name of the show, the name of the host, the call letters of the radio station. They had hosts like Lowell Ponte and just can't quite remember. I'll tell you though. I know who got us on the show was Sherry Gottlieb. And let's see. Maybe that'll give me something worth. Sherry Gottlieb, I believe, had a bookstore at the time. Oh well, not. Oh, I forgot. If I just say Phil and not Philip, I get the Philharmonic, the orchestra. KPFK. That's what it is. Los Angeles. Maybe that'll help. KPFK Los Angeles 19, I think it might have been 73, 1970s. Okay. Archive. Yeah. No, Google never heard of it. Mike Hodel. Here we go. Well, this is not his 1979 interview. But, oh well, restored audio. Maybe they didn't keep a record of the 1972 interview. But there's a link where you can. Mike Hodel interviewing Philip K. Dick. Oh, come on. Evil keyboard. Hodel. There you go. Got it. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough to keep you guys busy for a while. I've been on an hour and a half, and it isn't even Tuesday. Tora is wisely napping. I should do the same. It's too early. And it's sunny out, but it's cold. And I have stuff to do around the house. The dishes are dirty. The living room is cluttered, and I need to record a little tour for YouTube so you guys can see that I'm not kidding when I say this place is a mess and needs some work, most of which I can do myself, but I'm slower than ever because I went and fell and broke my hip. It was August 17, and they say it takes at least 6 months to heal completely, and I believe them. So thank you all for listening. I'll leave it up a couple minutes in case you want to post in chat, but I'm going to go recycle some coffee now. Um, not too tall. Oh, look at the pretty kitty cat. There's a neighbor's cat at my door. He thinks I'm going to feed. All right. Er, catch you all on Tuesday if all goes well. Bye.